Okay, so this topic is going to be a bit more on the serious side, but if it is we're really serious about leveling up our life, about self improvement and improving on our self discipline, I truly feel like this is something that we need to have discussed. If you clicked on the video, you know exactly what we're going to be talking about today. Let's just get right into it. It's not about the food, it's about the void. Now, I am someone that have struggled with overeating, binge eating in the past. And when I was at my heaviest, I realized that it literally was because I was going through a really stressful time in my life. And it seemed like the only thing that I had control over, the only thing that I could have done to make myself feel better was have food, was have sugar, was have snacks, was have a sweet treat. Just every day, even if I was hungry or not, I would be eating. And it got to a point where I didn't even realize when I was hungry anymore. I forgot what the feeling of hunger was like because I wasn't giving myself time to properly digest. I wasn't giving myself time to properly allow my body to go through the stages that it needed to go through before my next meal time. It was, okay, everybody is eating, so I'm gonna eat too. Okay, it's 12 o'clock, okay, I'm gonna eat. Okay, it's after lunch, I need something sweet. Oh, we're gonna see a movie, then I'm gonna need something to eat. And it was constant eating. And then late in the night, when everyone would go to sleep and I would be up, I'll be bored. And what's the one thing most of us do when we're bored? Eat. Sometimes we don't even do it because we're truly hungry. Sometimes we use it as an emotional coping mechanism. Food, in my opinion, is the worst type of coping mechanism that someone could have, because you're putting your health at risk, you're putting your mental health at risk, you're putting your stomach at risk, you're putting your skin at risk. Because when it is you want to binge, you don't necessarily say, let me have a lettuce, let me have a carrot, let me have a sweet pepper, let me have a soup, let me have a salad. People don't usually binge on veggies. People don't usually binge on fruit. When it is you want to binge, when it is you want to feel that sugar high, you grab the gummies, you grab the cupcake, you grab the sugary cookies and the brownies and these things, because the sugar that is in these foods registers to your brain as a drug. You know that sugar is a drug, right? And it registers to your brain as such. So now you find that you feel a certain type of euphoria when it is you intake a lot of sugar, because it is legit a drug. So it's important to understand that you're not out of control. You're just trying to fill spaces that feel empty. You have so many things on your plate, you have so many things on your mind, you have so many things going on with you emotionally that you try to fill those spaces with something that you feel like you have control of. Okay, so I have no control over my job, I have no control over my relationship, I have no control over these bills, so what can I do? I'm gonna go order a 10-piece. I'm gonna go order some fries. I'm gonna go order a mac and cheese. I'm gonna go order these things, and I'm gonna sit in front of the television and turn my brain off and just eat this entire thing by myself because I need something to make myself feel better. When it is I was in a situation like that, I found that any moment I felt super good. Before, I felt like, okay, I need to I'm feeling like I want to have something sweet, I want to have something savory, I want to have something chewy. And then in the moment I feel good, I'm like, this tastes amazing, this tastes great. But the feeling that I got when it is I was done and I realized the damage that I had in front of me, it was awful. The feeling I had from overeating, where your stomach feels all bloated and you feel like your skin is just crawling, and you're trying to balance it with drinking water. At least that's what I did, try to balance it with drinking water, but that just makes you feel more stuffed and you feel more full and you feel heavier, and now you're walking around all slow and you're trying your best to forget about it and you feel nauseous. Like, I used to eat to the point that I would feel like that because it was the only thing that I had control of in my life. Recognizing that you're doing these things to fill an empty void is step one. Because once you realize that, okay, I'm not really hungry, I just had lunch, I just had dinner, I feel sad, I feel depressed, I feel confused, I feel like there isn't anything that's working out for me. Recognizing that that's how you're feeling in the moment is step one. But when it is you try to combat these things with food, you literally just pile things up on your plate, because now you're sad, and then on top of that you're putting all of these things in your body that is not gonna help with the sadness. If it's anything, after you do this once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, and you make a habit out of binging, you will start to see it on your body. You start to see it on your skin. You start to feel it in your brain with the fact that every time something happens, you need a sugar hit. You need to eat something sweet. You need a gummy bear. And then as soon as you become dependent on it, you find that you're even more sad, you're even more depressed, because now you have a sugar high and then you have a sugar crash, and you're trying to avoid that by eating more and more and more. You're just putting your health at risk. So at the end of the day, long term, you're adding more stuff onto your plate. Recognizing that you're trying to avoid certain emotions, certain feelings, certain situations in life is step one. However, the solution to these things is not and will never be food, especially if you are not hungry. You need to be real with yourself. If you need something to distract you, there is a plethora of other things you can do that will actually make you feel so much better than you would if you were to sit with this entire crate of cake. It happens so subtly, especially if you're a person, you live alone. When it is I moved out of my parents' house and I had all of this time freedom, and I had all of this food in my fridge and my pantry, and I had all of these things that were freely accessible to me. There was no one that was watching me. There was no one around me to say I will feel any type of shame. If it is I want to pull out an entire cake or go to the grocery and buy an entire cake and just sit and eat it at home, I could have done that because I had the freedom to do so. However, when I realized that I want to be healthier, I want to live a longer life, I have plans to have a family and to do all of these things in the future, I want to start taking care of my body from now. I want to be taking care of myself, so much so that when I reach age 50, 60, 70, that I don't have all of these long-lasting repercussions of the things that I used to feed my body. When I realized that I had a long-term goal, that's when I was able to make certain changes. Because I know that if I sit and I eat this entire cake by myself right now, that is gonna impact the future that I want to build. Because it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey. But how am I gonna say that I want to be healthy at 50, healthy at 60, healthy at 70, if on the path to there I'm binging on gummy bears and binging on cake and eating all of this barbecue chicken and fried chicken and fries, and that's gonna be my habit. And when I get to age 50, 60, I'm gonna be so used to this habit that it's gonna be even harder to break. It's easier to break it now than wait until you're older. Recognize the problem now, snip it in the bud now, so that it's much more easier down the road. It's much more easier when you're going out with friends and you say, actually, I want a smoothie instead. Actually, I'll take a green juice instead. Actually, no, I wouldn't have a Sprite or anything. I'll have a water instead. It gets a lot easier when you no longer depend on these things to bring you joy, when you no longer depend on these things to bring you happiness. And isn't that what we all want? Happiness. Create rituals that nourish you, not punish you. When it is I would be done with eating all of this food, I would feel so icky and yucky. But it was so easy for me to pile on to my self-hate. Say, see, this is why we can't lose weight. This is why we feel like crap. This is why our skin is breaking out, because we eat like this. No. You have now recognized that there is a problem. You have now recognized that you were just trying to fill an empty space. Now what you need to do is build routines that do not center around food. If you have a structure in place and you stick to that structure, you would find that eventually the routine works for you. What I did is I wanted to ensure that I was not restricting in any way. I wanted to make sure that even though I wanted to cut this binging habit, I did not want to restrict on food. I didn't want to say a certain particular type of food was off limits. No, I can't have that, because the brain wants what it can't have. And as human beings, when it is we can't have something or someone says no to us, we see it as that much more of a challenge, and now we want it more. So what it is I did is that I would usually either meal prep or I would structure my day in where I'm saying, okay, I'm going to have 3 full meals today. And when it is I did that, it became a lot easier for me to not fall back into those habits, because I was not restricting. If I wanted fried foods, if I wanted ramen noodles, if it is I wanted a huge sandwich, if it is I wanted a huge salad, if it is I wanted something sweet, I would structure these into my meals for the day. So if it is I'm having breakfast, and let's say breakfast is an omelette or some scrambled eggs or some fruits or an oatmeal. When it is I'm going along the day and I get a craving and I said, oh my gosh, I'm feeling for KFC, I'm feeling for Subway, I'm feeling for... I wouldn't say, no, we can't have that. We want to stop overeating. No, I wouldn't say I can't have it. I would say, okay then, lunchtime is coming up. When I have lunch at 12, what I'm going to do is that because I want KFC, because I want Subway, because I want a burger, because I want all of these nice things, I'm going to have that for lunch. I'm not going to hold myself back. I'm going to have that for lunch. I would go and I would have that for lunch so that I could satisfy that craving. But what I did not do is that outside of those meal times, I did not rush to go and try to stuff my face with it. I made room in my day-to-day meals for the things that I know that I like or things that I know that I crave. And I did it without burden, without guilt, because after this time period has finished, I am now going to be satisfied and I'm not going to have the need to eat this anymore. I would do that because it's all about balance, but not in an unhealthy way, not in a way that's going to cause long-term damage to you. When I started doing that, it became a lot easier. I tried everything. I tried intermittent fasting. I tried liquid diets. I tried a lot of things. But what worked for me was saying, you know what? Eating this is not bad. The way that I'm doing it is bad. It's my routine and the structure in which I'm doing it that's bad. And that's why afterwards I feel bloated, I feel slow, I feel heavy. That's why, because I don't have a plan in place. I don't have a structure in place. When I started implementing certain things into my day-to-day life that created a better routine around the foods that I ate, I found that I didn't need to binge. I never want to create a scarcity mindset around food. No. I would spread my meal times throughout the day, ensure I had 3 square meals a day, and ensure they were all nutritious, they were all balanced, and they were all filling. Key word, that they were all filling. When I did this, I was able to grasp my habits around food a lot better. I was able to have back control of my health. I was able to clear my skin. I was able to have glossier, healthier hair. I was able to feel better in my body, going to sleep and waking up. This is something that I know a lot of us have been having trouble with, and a lot of us have been having discourse around it. This is something that I have always been passionate about because it has become very personal to me as well. And I'm really glad that I was able to make this video and share my thoughts around this topic. If it is you agree or you relate, subscribe because I post quite often. Bye.